Last game of the night. What do we got? We got the Auburn Tigers taking on the Mississippi State Bulldogs. 7:30 on SEC Network. So let's get into this one. Auburn was a team that I watched their game against Texas A&M. I watched a good bit of that one. Auburn had their chances in that game. I was like, this is a very impressive game for me from Auburn. Auburn had chances to take away the ball from Texas A&M. The obvious one is the one where the ball went right through the Auburn's defender's hands, right into the Wire-Mider's hands, and that was a touchdown. That's a huge difference maker in that game because, first of all, you're taking 7 points away from Texas A&M, and you're getting the ball back into your offense's hands, giving them another chance to score points. I thought Auburn played a pretty good game in this one. Like, I don't know, Auburn fans, I don't know what you think. Texas A&M fans, I don't know what they think. I thought Auburn was decent in this game, especially against the 5th team in the nation after coming off a big loss to Alabama. I think that Auburn went out and played a pretty good game. Mississippi State, on the other hand, they were on a bye last week, I'm pretty sure. They did not play because their last game was the Egg Bowl, which was actually a very entertaining game. I think that game ended. I was able to watch the end of that game, and that was a Hail Mary shot to the end zone. That was knocked away by Ole Miss to end the game. Speaking of like last-second games, Coastal Carolina BYU was one of the best games of the season. I was watching that off and on and everything, but holy, the Mormons versus Mullets game, that's a game that should go down as one of the greatest of this year. Like, obviously, you're going to have Notre Dame, Clemson. Who else would be up there? Honestly, like that Coastal Carolina BYU one, if you haven't watched the highlights to that, you need to, because that game, the way it finished, the halftime, when the fight broke out and everything, that was a very hard-fought game and just a good feeling game to see a team like Coastal Carolina go out and knock off BYU. Personally, I'd love to see Coastal Carolina make the playoffs, even though it's not going to happen. They have a 2% chance of making it, according to ESPN. You're going to have some crazy things happen the next couple of weeks to be able to see Coastal Carolina in the playoffs. But I just want to see, it's 2020, it's a crazy year. I want to see something like that. Auburn's gone out and they've scored 25.9 points a game, while Mississippi State scored 18.3. Auburn's only allowed 25.2, while Mississippi State has allowed 28.4. I almost said Ole Miss there. Mississippi State fans are about to kill me. I could just tell. Like, behind your computer screens right now, you're like, you dare call me Ole Miss again. Ole Miss, I'm just joking. Calm down. Mississippi State has passed for 324 passing yards a game, while Auburn's only passed for 220. Obviously, you have the air raid with Mike Leach. He's one of my favorite coaches in all of college football. Even though Mississippi State hasn't done as good as they did that first game of the year against LSU, I love the confidence and the swagger and everything from Mike Leach. He's just a fun coach to listen to and everything like that. The problem is for Mississippi State, 23.8 rushing yards a game. That is terrible. I know you have the air raid and everything, but Kylan Hill, who was coming into this season one of the better running backs in college football, that was just kind of a waste of talent, honestly. Like, Kylan Hill was one of the better running backs in college football, and if you're only able to rush 23.8 yards a game, like, that's not even his average per game. That's the whole team's rushing average per game. That's terrible. This whole Auburn team is really based on the ability to get the rushing game going, because we've seen when Bigsby and like Shivers and Williams and guys like that are able to establish the running game and everything, opens up everything else for Auburn, and Auburn has been really able to take advantage of that. You saw in that LSU game, that was probably Auburn's most convincing win this season, and their best win this season was against that LSU game on CBS. I'm pretty sure I watched that one. That was 48-11, something like that final. Auburn had a really good game that game, and expect something like that here, because Mississippi State's defense isn't anything special. I'd love to see Bo Nix get back in. I'd love to see Auburn jump in back into the top 25, because seeing only 4 SEC teams in the AP or the playoff rankings just does not seem right to me. And it's because all the SEC teams just constantly had to go in and beat up on each other this season. But it just looks bad. Even though I know we had the 1 team, we had the 5, we had the 6, and we had the 8 in the playoff, I think. It just looks bad that we only have 4 teams in. So I'd love to see Auburn win this game and come back and get into not a playoff spot, one of those AP top 25 or playoff ranking spots. In my opinion, this is Auburn's game to win. You may see a push from Mississippi State. This game may be close in the first half because it is in Starkville, but all in all, I think that Auburn has the better team defensively and offensively, and they're going to control this game. So it could be the Auburn Tigers in this one. So thank you so much for watching this video, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you for sticking around. Definitely come back next week, because next week we do have some other SEC games. I don't know. I think Texas A&M and Ole Miss may be canceled permanently, because Texas A&M does go on to play Tennessee next week. We got Ole Miss, LSU. We got Missouri, Mississippi State. We got Vanderbilt, Georgia. And then, of course, at 8 o'clock on CBS, the big boy game, the Alabama Crimson Tide taking on the Florida Gators. So lots to look forward to next season. So definitely, next week. So definitely come back next week. And thank you for watching, and come back next time.